An event is just something that you do. Like I roll this 6-sided die. Well, if there's more than one, it's dice. If there's one, it's a die. One die, multiple dice. Die, D-I-E. One die. In a math book, they always call them number cubes. Okay, why do they always call them number cubes? Because dice implies gambling. That's why, and so we don't want to make the kids think about gambling, so we won't call them dice, we'll call them number cubes. That's garbage. Okay, they're called dice. Okay, or one die. So if I roll this die one time, that's an event. Okay, and there are different possible outcomes of that event. Probability of something happening is the thing you're looking for, the desired outcome, divided by how many possible outcomes there are. Okay, so I want to roll a 6 on this die. How many possible outcomes on the die are a 6? 1 out of how many possible outcomes? 6. So the probability of rolling a 6 with one 6-sided die like this is 1 out of 6. 1 out of 6. Let me point out here, those of you that watch the Edpuzzle, probability is expressed as fractions and percents most of the time, either a simplified fraction or a percent. So you need to be able to go from fraction to percent, and you also need to be able to simplify fractions, which is what the warm-ups are that were on the Edpuzzle. I'm not going to do them now because we've done them already this year. If you don't remember how to go from fraction to percent, then you need to look at it. If you don't know how to simplify fractions, get better, because that was a 5th grade topic. Okay? Yeah. We'll practice them in intervention, I can tell you. All right, so the probability of an event goes from absolutely impossible to happen, 0, up to absolutely certain that it is going to happen. Okay? So I said, what's the probability of rolling a 7 with this one die? It's 0, because there are no 7s on this die. So no matter what I do, I'm not going to get a 7. The probability is 0. What is the probability? That's true. We'll talk about that later in the class. What is the probability of rolling a number between 1 and 6? 100%. Absolutely certain. You could also say the probability is 1. It seems kind of weird, right? But 1 as a fraction is 100%. 1 whole, right? Absolutely certain that that's going to happen. What's the probability that I roll an odd number when I roll this die, James? There are 3 odd numbers on the die, so what is the probability of rolling an odd number? 3 out of 6, right? 3 numbers are odd out of the possible 6. That's a probability of what? 50% or 1/2, okay? So that's, all right, let's take a look at a different event. Flipping a coin. This is a Chinese quarter. Why do I call it a Chinese quarter? No. Why is this a Chinese quarter? Roman. Well, yeah, it's from China. How do I know this quarter is from China? Okay, it's made of plastic. That's a good guess. But what's wrong with this quarter?
It's because it's copper.
Yeah, it's the wrong color. Quarters are not, no offense to Chinese people, right? But all the stuff that's made in China, they don't know necessarily what they're making. They just make a bunch of stuff, right? They make incredible amounts of stuff in China. Every little plastic thing you have, most likely, is made in China. There must be factories in China of people making little plastic things all over the place. That's all little plastic things like this are made in China. Yeah, it would. It does. It says China right on here, actually, in little letters underneath it. So obviously, the people that made this quarter in this set of coins, right? This is also a quarter. This one seems reasonable. This is not a reasonable quarter. It's copper. It should be a penny, right? And here's a penny. Oh, come on. The penny is not silver. This should be the penny. This should be a quarter. Anyway,
Do the Chinese coins have like
no, they're not like the actual currency that they use in China, right?
It's just Chinese.
I don't know what the currency is that they use in China. Yen is Japanese. And I don't know what they look like either. I have no idea. I've never seen one. I've never been to China. But these say China right on them. Okay, they're made in China. All right, what's the probability of getting heads if I flip this coin? 50%, or as a fraction, 1/2, right? So that's why people say, oh, there's a 50-50 chance of getting heads, right? When people say there's a 50-50 chance, it means there's 50% chance it's going to happen, and 50% chance it's not going to happen, okay? Yes, Roman?
Is there a possible way for like when flipping a coin or rolling dice, you have to increase the probability on one side?
So that's a really good question.
Like having a weighted dice.
Yes, so there are ways to make events not have the same chance of all the different results, right? Let's say if I put a big weight on the bottom of this die, then the chance that it comes up with that side being down will be higher. Okay, more times it would end up with that side down than on the other chances. Okay, one of the things about basic simple probability is that you have to have an equal chance of each result. Okay, so the favorable or the outcomes you are looking for divided by the total possible outcomes. That's probability, always, all probabilities. Favorable outcomes divided by total possible outcomes. And they go from 0 to 1. Probability is always a fraction or a percent less than 100%. It can't be more than 100%, right? It can't be less than 0. It can't be negative either. If it's less than a half or less than 50%, then it's less likely to happen than not happen, right? If it's 50-50, then both of the results are equally likely to happen. Where's your book? You don't have a book at all? Ever? Again. Try to remember to bring your book. We have 3 classes left. Okay.
Really? We only have 3?
Yes!
Thursday, 4 classes left.
No!
Sorry. Thursday, Monday, 4 classes. 4 math classes after today. Besides the Wednesdays, right? 2 Wednesdays.
2 weeks?
$14.
Wait, are we going to the Wednesday?
Yeah,
You can, right?
You can, it's optional.
Okay. So, rolling a number cube, a die, right? They won't even use one that has dots on it. Probability of rolling a 6, 1 out of 6. Okay, converting that to a percent. Okay, if you don't know the percent, like 1/2 you should know is 50%, 1 out of 4 is 25%. You're supposed to know a bunch of fraction percent conversions from back in Unit 2. If you don't know it, you can divide. 1 divided by 6 in your calculator, you get 0.1666666, round to the nearest whole percent, 17%. Okay, and then we talked about the coin toss. The probability of getting heads is 1/2 or 50%. Okay, I don't worry too much about writing it as a decimal. Most of the time, we don't write probabilities as a decimal. It's normally as a fraction or as a percent. Okay, number cubes. If it says number cube in the book, that means dice. They won't say dice in the book. Okay, what's the probability of rolling 2, 3, or 4? So they're giving you multiple possible outcomes you're looking for. 3 numbers out of 6. 3 out of 6 simplifies to 1/2. Okay, so the probability is 1/2 or 50% that you get a 2, 3, or 4. 4, winner. Yes, Holly.
I just have a question about it because is there like more possible outcomes?
Yep. Yep,
Wouldn't there only be one because you'd only choose one?
but there's 4 possible ones you could pick out. You only choose one, but there's 4 different results you could get. You could pick the purple one, or you could pick the red one.
Like one possible.
It might be more, you might understand more as we get to the next lesson. This die has 30 sides to it. What is the probability of rolling a 1 on this die, Kyle? 1 out of 30. 26. 9. Yeah. How many times would I have to roll before I roll a 1?
30.
It's possible, but
It could be.
it could be on the next roll, right? That's probability, right? It's all just what should happen or what might happen. What actually happens could be different. We'll talk about that in the next lesson, not today. Okay, here's a spinner, okay? A spinner, this spinner here has 10 letters on it. My spinner has 10 numbers on it, okay? And if you spin this spinner, hopefully there's an equal chance of getting each of these letters because all the spaces are the same size. What is the probability of getting an F if I spin this spinner?
1 out of 10.
1 out of 10. There are 10 possible outcomes, 10 spaces, okay? And so 1 out of 10, or as a percent, 1/10 is what percent? So the way to get percent, kind of the easy way, to make this bottom 100, right? It's 10 times this, so 1/10 is 10%. 10%. Okay? You're supposed to know that one. Now, I know some of you don't know it, and that's why that will be the hardest part of this lesson. Will not be probability. It'll be 6th grade math and unit 2 that we already did, converting fractions to percents. You practice it on IXL. What's the probability of getting a D or a G on this spinner? Someone besides James. Kylie. D or G? What's the probability of getting D or G if I spin this spinner? 2 out of, there's 10 spaces. 2 out of 10, which I can, for my first answer, that's okay. In fact, I prefer that you write that first, 2 out of 10. Okay, but that's not a simplified fraction. What is 2 out of 10, Roman? 1/5, or as a percent? 20%. Okay, 2/5 or 20%. 2 out of 10 is 1/5 or 20%. Okay, what's the probability of getting a vowel when I spin it? Oh, vowels, A-E-I-O-U. Let's see how many there are. 1, 2, 3. So the probability is, Grayson?
3 out of 10.
3 out of 10. Can that be simplified?
No.
No, it cannot. And what is it as a percent?
30.
30%. Okay, 30%.
Would John Carlos take a roll on report to the main office? Thank you.
Shake my head. Okay, every event has a complement, okay, or a complementary event, which is the probability of that thing not happening, okay? So the probability of rolling a 6 on this die is 1 out of 6. What is the probability of not rolling a 6? Not rolling a 6. 5 out of 6, right? There are 5 sides on the die that are not 6. So the probability is 5 out of 6 of not getting a 6. The probability of an event and its complement always add up to 1. It either has to happen or not happen, right? That's the complement of the event. So if I So the probability of not rolling a 6 is 5/6. You can get it two ways. You can do 1 minus 1/6, right? 1 minus the probability of it happening, or you could just look at all the outcomes that are not what you want. That's 5 outcomes out of 6. You'll get the same answer either way, okay? So a bag contains 5 blue, 8 red, and 7 green marbles. This bag, it contains some, they're not marbles, these are 12-sided dice, okay? 12-sided dice. They're kind of roundish. And I pick one at random, and what is the probability that it is not red? There are 5 blue, 8 red, and 7 green marbles in the bucket. So the first thing I have to do is what? Add them all together and figure out how many there are total in the bucket, okay? So the total is 5 plus 8 plus 7, which is 20 marbles in the bucket. 8 of them are red, so what is the probability of it not being red? 12 out of 20. 12 of the marbles are not red out of the total 20 marbles, okay? I think that's under here. 12 out of 20, which simplifies, they're both divisible by 4, simplifies to 3/5, okay? So this is one way to get it, is to count all the ones that are not red and divide by the total number, okay? The other way you could do this is by subtracting the probability of red. Sometimes if there was a whole bunch of these other ones to add up, you wouldn't want to have to add up all the other ones. It's easier to just subtract off the ones that you don't want, right? Either way, you'll get the same answer. 3/5, or what's 3/5 as a percent? Every fifth is 20%. Every fifth is 20%. 60%, right? 20% is 1/5, 40% 2/5, 60% 3/5, 80% 4/5. Okay? So the complement of an event is the probability of the thing not happening. Okay? All right. Now sometimes you get probability not from random things like a die or a spinner, but just taking a bunch of data, right? Doing some experiment or a survey and getting the results, okay? So Mr. Harada here surveyed his class and 30% of them had blue eyes. What's the complement of that? And what's the probability? Well, the complement of people having blue eyes is people having not blue eyes, right? Any other color besides blue is the complement, not blue. What's the probability of the class, of someone in the class not having blue eyes? 30% have blue eyes, so the probability of not having blue eyes is 70%, right? 100 minus the percent of the event. 100 minus 30, okay? All right, so let's take a look at a couple of problems here. And again, if you did this already and you watched the Ed puzzle, you can go ahead and start these practice problems on page 715. All right, if you're not really sure what to do over here, or you can follow along here. Okay, so these are letter tiles, okay? They spell the word divisible. And what is the probability of, if you pick one at random, right? You're not looking at them, you just pick one. What is the probability of it being a D?
1 out of 7.
1 out of 8. First, you have to know how many there are, right? There are 9. You got to count them, right? So there's 9 tiles. So the probability of getting a D is 1 out of 9. 1 out of 9. Can that be simplified? No, because it has a 1 in it. Can't simplify 1. And what percent is that? 1 out of 9.
10. No,
Close.
15.
11.
Same thing.
1 divided by 9 is 0.11111111111 in your calculator. 11%. Okay, each ninth is 11%. You can remember that. All right, what about, we didn't talk about this, but this capital P here and then something in parentheses means the probability of whatever's in the parentheses, okay? This means the probability of S, V, or L. What's the probability of S, V, or L? Dad? What's the probability if I pick a tile off of here at random that I get an S, a V, or an L? Desired results, how many desired results are there? No, that's the total possible. 3 out of 9, 3 out of 9, which simplifies to 3 out of 9. Done. 3 out of 9 simplifies to 1/3. What is 1/3 as a percent? Supposed to know that one, Riley? 33% is 1/3, right? 33%. So one time out of every 3, if I pick the tile, I should get a D, a V, or an L. Okay. What's the probability of not D? Not D. Emma. What's the probability of not getting a D? Getting a D is 1 out of 9. 8 out of 9. 8 out of 9 can't be simplified. And what's 8 out of 9 as a percent? Close. You're just going to guess numbers until I say yes, that's right.
85.
8 ninths is 0.888888888888. So the answer is 89%. 0.8888888888. That's what ninths do, right? 1 ninth is 0.1111.
It's not low, stop.
Narwhals living in the ocean. What? All right, let's go over some answers here. Probability of blue, 2 out of 8. 2 out of 8, which is 1/4 or 25%. Red or yellow, 3 out of 8. Now, that comes out to 37.5%. If you rounded this to 38%, that's okay. If you rounded it to 37%, that's bad rounding. That's not okay. Now, you really shouldn't round 0.5s. You should leave it as 0.5, okay? It's a hack. I mean, that's not something you need to round. But there's no instructions here, so if you said 38%, that's okay. Probability of not brown, 100%. Right? There's no way you could pick something that's brown. You have a 100% chance that it's not brown. And not green, there are 5 not greens. Okay, if the El Centro flights are 80% on time, then what probability is that they are not on time? 100 minus 80, 20%, which is 1/5. Is that what you said? 1/5, 20%, 20 out of 100 if you have to convert percent to fraction. Okay, the 10 cards. Less than 5, there are 4 numbers less than 5. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So 4 out of 10, which simplifies to 2/5 or 40%. Greater than 3, there are 7 cards greater than 3. 70%. Pretty likely you'll get one greater than 3. Let's see. Greater than 3, Grayson. Feeling lucky? Does he win or not? Greater than 3? Greater than 3? Where?
I got 9.
He got a 9. Next one. Okay, probability of odd. What's the probability of picking an odd card? 10. What's the probability of picking an odd card? 5 out of 10, also known as 1/2 or not 1/5. 50%. Are you going to win or lose? Odd card. Did you win? Is it odd?
I definitely won this.
It's 4.
I win this.
That's odd, right?
Sorry. You want to try again?
Yeah.
You have a better chance now? What's the probability now that he's doing it again?
Oh my gosh, it's the same?
Still 50%, right? There's no difference.
Oh, I didn't know you had.
Yeah, me either.
Odd winner, 3. Okay. Redemption,
I was 20-sided dice.
50%. Even, also 50%. Not a multiple of 4. How many numbers are multiples of 4? 2, 4 and 8. So it's 8 out of 10, or 80%. Not 5, 6, 7, or 8 gives you 6 winners out of 10, 60%. Divisible by 3, there are 3 numbers divisible by 3, 3, 6, and 9. So 30%. All right, I'll leave the rest.